Icaray.
Kuinact is dying. Its barren fields provide little food, and its crumbling walls offer no protection. As the power of the Guardian Menhir fails, the weirdness creeps ever closer. Twisting places, creatures, and even space itself. Despite this, the people of the farmhold refuse to leave. Instead, Lord Yvain led 4 of their best on a desperate mission to Camelot. They promised to bring back help. They never returned. Now those left behind are growing desperate. They will try to bestow the burden of their fate on someone else. New heroes, with an even slimmer chance of success. Not long ago, Ephir's Forge supplied the southern lands with weapons and armor of quality comparable to arms crafted by masters of Camelot. Materials brought directly from the mines of Forlorn Swords, as well as Ephir's unrivaled knowledge, made his swords and shields particularly sought after. But with quality and renown came steep prices that not every soldier could pay out of pocket. You were the happiest person on this damned island when Ephir took you under his wing to teach you the basics of his craft. Now, the ruin of his house, the place where you spent countless hours hammering on the blacksmith's iron, looms at the edge of the weirdness, rotting away, a shade of its former glory. Your hand touches the key in your pocket. Every day it feels a little heavier. Every day you wonder whether you will be able to force yourself to walk through that door again. Why would you even try to save his legacy after he found you insufficient? After he lied to you? After he left you behind like a broken tool? With hazy eyes and less than confident hands, you open the door. Maybe that last ale wasn't a good idea. Maybe it was. The fact is that now you're drunk out of your mind. But as you sit near a large workbench, you notice a piece of parchment on the floor under it. That damned letter. You've read it 1,000 times by now. You've tried to burn it 1,000 times more. Drunk as you are, it's not easy to start working at the forge, but you're way past sleeping it off. Kuinact is dying, and everyone who didn't leave by now is going down with it. Hours pass, and from your drunken haze emerges a surprisingly acceptable weapon. It's not nearly as perfect as Ephir's masterpieces, but you never expected to reach the heights of his craft. Not to mention the fact you've lost access to materials from the mines of Forlorn Swords. Everything you have on hand are leftovers from the good days. After you've done, you collapse from exhaustion. You wake as the sun sets. Usually, by this time, you'd already be on your way to the inn. You might be able to force yourself to get some work done before you leave, though. The wound in your side suddenly throbs, and you punch it in response, pain and rage overwhelming you for a moment. Only then you notice one of the farmhold's guardians standing in front of you, his mouth agape.
I am sorry, but it's your turn to lay an offering.
godforsaken offering. It was not your turn today, and even if it were, you know the truth. The Menhirs' protection won't last. Oblivion stretches its cold hands towards Kuanacht Farmhold after claiming many other parts of Avalon. Your question takes him aback.
An offering to our Guardian Menhir. Have you been outside? The weirdness is close now, and Farmhold's ledger says you're next. Please, don't cause any trouble.
Time passes. Your wound throbs again, as if something was trying to rip free and join the rolling clouds of weirdness outside. Sitting here any longer would be a torture. The local menhir now towers above you, weathered and cracked, its ribbons flapping in the wind. The thought that this tired old thing is the only protection from pure weirdness outside of Farmhold sends shivers up your spine. Menhirs, raised by Merlin himself in the Age of Conquest, are said to have different appetites. The one before you seems to best respond to fresh blood, and its thirst is not easy to quench. The menhir can be sated with animal blood, just as easily as with human offering. Unfortunately, livestock is now scarce and very expensive. You will need to hunt down some wild creature and drag it back to this place. The thought of chasing prey on the edge of weirdness makes you anxious. Your eyes slide past the Kuanacht's prison broch. Maybe there is another, safer way to appease the menhir. There's a man half laying on a bed in the corner, looking barely conscious. His hands are trembling. You shake the man's body, and after a while you see his eyes opening. He looks up at you with an absent gaze. Suddenly, he sits up on his bed and shouts,
"I told you never to enter this place!" Wait, who the hell are you? I don't And there will be even more. Is this my problem? Now, that's smart. That's what I like to hear. I'll tell you what I want. I want to go back to Cohen. Just remember, my old house, my old bed, me inside alone. No one bothering me, not now, not ever, save for the time when I run out of meat or drugs. And an apology from Yvain when you're at it.
You leave the druid's hut, still dizzy from the stench you felt inside. You look at the men patiently waiting for the druid junkie to let them in.
You got what you wanted from the warlock? I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're trying to fight against the weirdness. Did the warlock say anything about us? Thank you, Tony. Now we have hope. And that's more than anyone can ask for in these times.